November 3rd, 1931. Harlem, New York City. Just after 11:00 p.m. Bumpy Johnson is outnumbered 18-1. Dutch Schultz doesn't send amateurs. He sends his deadliest crew. Men who work quiet. Men whose names never reach a police ledger. The order is simple. Corner Bumpy. Kill him. Leave the body where it sends a message. They trap him in a basement. No witnesses. No exits. One narrow staircase. One bare light bulb swinging overhead. Bumpy Johnson is 26 years old. Still labeled muscle. Still considered replaceable. Dutch Schultz is the opposite. The most feared mob boss in New York. A man linked to over 40 killings. Everyone expects the same ending. Bumpy Johnson dead underground. Harlem falling in line by sunrise. But there's one thing Dutch Schultz doesn't know. Bumpy Johnson doesn't play by anyone's rules. 90 minutes later, only one of those 18 men walks out alive. Not to escape. Not to hide. To deliver a message. A message that makes Dutch Schultz, a man who never hesitates, go silent. That night, Harlem doesn't change hands with money. It changes hands with control. And that's the night Bumpy Johnson becomes untouchable. To understand what happened next, you have to understand Harlem in 1931. Harlem, 1931. Money moves before sunrise. By 7:00 a.m., runners are already knocking. Brown envelopes, small bills, folded tight. The numbers racket is Harlem's bloodstream. A 5-cent bet can turn into $50 by nightfall. For men making $8 a week, that nickel is hope. And hope spends fast. Bumpy Johnson runs protection for 3 main routes. Lenox Avenue, 135th and 138th Street. He doesn't skim loud. He doesn't flash. On a strong week, the take clears $2,500. On a week, $1,900 still lands on the table. Bumpy touches none of it past noon. Money moves out by 2:00 p.m. lawyers. Bonds. Payoffs. That's how businesses stay open. That's how cops stay distracted. Downtown Dutch Schultz is counting real money. Beer trucks. Slaughterhouses. Days that hit $15,000 without blinking. But prohibition is cracking. Dutch sees the numbers game as his next empire. He already controls 5 neighborhoods. Same pattern every time. Step 1. Send collectors. Step 2. Raise tribute by 25%. Step 3. Send guns. Harlem is the last piece. Not because it's bigger. Because it won't bend. Harlem already has a queen, Madame Stephanie St. Clair. And she has an enforcer. Bumpy Johnson isn't loud muscle. He's precise. When runners get robbed, the money comes back. When dirty cops push too hard, their careers disappear. Not always with bullets. Sometimes with paperwork. Dutch sends word in late October. A sit-down. Neutral ground. St. Clair listens for 2 minutes. Then she says, "Get out." The men look to Bumpy. He doesn't move. Doesn't speak. That stare lasts 5 seconds too long. They leave empty-handed. Dutch Schultz doesn't forgive that. Not from a black woman. Not from her enforcer. On November 2nd, he makes a decision. Not politics. Numbers. 18 men. Paid $400 each. One night. By 11:00 p.m., the cars are already rolling north. And Bumpy Johnson already knows they're coming. November 3rd, 1931. Harlem. 10:18 p.m. The warning doesn't come by phone. Phones get people killed. It comes by a man who won't sit down. He's standing in the doorway. Hat in his hands, eyes jumping. Age 22. One job tonight. Deliver a sentence. Leave alive. Dutch Schultz sent everybody he says. 18. Bumpy Johnson is at a table. Counting. Stacks of $20 bills laid flat edges aligned. He doesn't look up. When Bumpy asks, "Now?" Before midnight, Bumpy finishes the count. $640. He slides it into an envelope. Seals it. How many cars? 3? How many guns? The man hesitates. Enough. That pause tells Bumpy everything. Bumpy stands, straightens his jacket, checks his watch. 10:22 p.m. He steps past the messenger and opens the door himself. Tell Dutch something, Bumpy says. The man leans in, desperate not to miss a word. Tell him he picked the wrong night. The messenger swallows. Anything else? Bumpy shakes his head once. That's it. The man leaves fast. Too fast. That's fear. At 10:30, Bumpy walks alone. No bodyguards, no convoy. Just him and 4 blocks of dark sidewalk. The place is a basement under an after-hours club. Not the famous one. The real one. Storage crates. Poker tables. 1 stairway in. 1 stairway out. At 10:41, Bumpy reaches the door. Pauses. He knows the count. He knows the math. 18 men. 3 cars. No patients. He opens the door and goes down the stairs. 10 steps. 9. 8. At the bottom, the light clicks on. 1 bulb. Bare wire. Swinging. Then the sound. Metal. Soft. Final. 18 safeties clicking off. Men step out of the shadows. Guns raised. Faces calm. One of them speaks. Dutch sends his regards. Bumpy looks around the room slowly. Counts once. Counts again. Then he looks back at the man. That all he sent. The smile disappears. A gun lifts higher. You got about 5 seconds, the man says. Bumpy tilts his head. You're already late. The room goes quiet. No one fires. 10:44 p.m. The men don't shoot. That's the first crack. 18 guns stay trained, but nobody moves. 5 seconds stretch to 8. 8 becomes 10. Bumpy Johnson lets the silence work. He takes 1 slow step forward. Not toward a man, toward the light. The bulb swings. Left, right. Casting faces in and out of shadow. One of the shooters shifts his weight. Boot scrapes concrete. Too loud. Another clears his throat. Regret already showing. You heard him, one man says. Do it. No one does. Bumpy speaks again. Low. Measured. 18 of you came down here, he says. None of you checked who was upstairs. A few heads turn just for a second. That's the bait. A man near the stairs glances back. Just a glance. But it's enough. Bumpy sees it. So does everyone else. There's nobody up there, a shooter snaps. He's lying to himself. Bumpy smiles. Just once. You sure, he asks. The bulb swings wider now. The wire creaks. At 10:46, a hand starts to shake. Gun barrel dips. Then rises again. Another man mutters, "This is taking too long." That's when Bumpy shifts again. Not fast. Deliberate. He places his foot against a crate. Liquor inside. Glass clinks. Small sound. Big reaction. 2 guns jerk toward the noise. Wrong direction. Bumpy is already under the bulb. He looks up at it. Measures the distance. About 7 feet off the floor. Thin wire. Cheap glass. One man realizes too late. Wait. That's all he gets out. Bumpy coils his shoulder back. Not wild. Controlled. And throws 1 punch. 10:44 p.m. Nobody shoots. That's the mistake. 18 guns are aimed at Bumpy Johnson. But 18 men are thinking at the same time. And hesitation spreads faster than bullets. The basement is tight. About 20 feet wide. Crates stacked shoulder high. 2 poker tables pushed against the wall. 1 staircase behind them. That's the only exit. Bumpy stands still. Hands down. No weapon drawn. That's intentional. One of Schultz's men shifts his weight. Boot scrapes concrete. Too loud. Another glances back toward the stairs. Just for a second. Bumpy sees it. You're blocking your own way out, Bumpy says. Short sentence. Calm voice. A man laughs. Too sharp. Too forced. We got you boxed, he says. Bumpy nods once. That's why I came. That line lands wrong. At 10:45, one shooter lowers his gun an inch. Not enough to notice. Enough to matter. Another man wipes sweat from his lip. Cold room. No reason to sweat. Bumpy takes one step forward. Not toward the stairs. Toward the light. The bulb swings. Slow. Back and forth. You know what Dutch paid you? Bumpy asks. Nobody answers. $400, Bumpy says. Before tax. A hand trembles. A gun barrel dips. Bumpy keeps talking. He didn't tell you how many men already died trying this. That's a lie. But it doesn't matter. Fear doesn't check facts. At 10:46, someone mutters, "Shut him up." No one moves. Bumpy takes another step. Now he's directly under the bulb. Light above him. Shadows everywhere else. You're all watching the wrong thing, Bumpy says. That's when a man in the back panics. He squeezes the trigger. The gun clicks. Empty chamber. The sound echoes. Click. 18 heads turn. That's the opening. Bumpy moves. Not toward a man. Toward the chain. He jumps. One fist up. The bulb explodes. Glass rains down. The basement drops into total darkness. And the shooting starts. 10:46 p.m. Darkness hits like a wall. The first shots come wild. 3. Then 5 more. Men are firing at sounds. At footsteps. At each other. Hold your fire, someone yells. Nobody listens. Fear doesn't take orders. Bumpy Johnson doesn't fire once. He moves. He knows this room. He's played cards here dozens of nights. He knows where the crates pinch space, where the tables scrape knees, where a man has to turn sideways. The first body goes down in under 10 seconds. Not from a bullet, from a collision. A man stumbles backward into a crate. Bumpy hits him once hard. The man drops. Gun clatters. That sound draws fire. 2 shots tear through the dark. 1 scream. Wrong voice. Friendly fire. At 10:47, the room is chaos. Men shouting names. Nobody answering. Bumpy stays low. Keeps moving. Another shooter slips on glass. Falls. Bumpy takes the gun out of his hand. Doesn't shoot him. A boot to the face. The man doesn't get up. Someone reaches the staircase. Bad idea. Bumpy is already there. He grabs the railing. Uses it to swing. 1 elbow. Then another. 2 men go down on the steps. Block the exit completely. Now there's panic. Someone screams, "We're trapped!" That's the humiliation. At 10:49, shots slow down. Ammunition runs low. Breathing gets loud. In the dark, you can hear shaking. A gun drops. Metal on concrete. "I'm done," a voice says. Bumpy answers from the dark. "Sit down." The man sits. Another tries to crawl. Bumpy drags him back by the collar, slams him into the wall. Silence follows. By 10:52, it's over. Lights come back on. 17 men are down. Some dead. Some broken. None standing. 1 man is still breathing clean. On his knees. Hands empty. Bumpy steps in front of him. "How long you known Dutch?" Bumpy asks. The man can barely speak. 3 years. Bumpy nods. That's long enough to remember words. He leans in. Says 1 sentence. Quiet. Exact. Then he steps back. "Walk," Bumpy says. "Don't run." At 10:56 p.m., the survivor climbs the stairs alone, carrying nothing except a message. 11:07 p.m. The survivor reaches the street. Cold air hits his lungs. He bends forward, hands on knees. Doesn't vomit. Doesn't cry. He walks. Not fast, not slow. Exactly 6 blocks north before he stops shaking. By 11:26, he finds a cab. Blood on his sleeve. Not his. "Bronx," he says. "Arthur Avenue." The driver looks once. Doesn't ask questions. The meter starts. $2.40 clicks up by the time they arrive. Inside Dutch Schultz's social club, it's still loud. Cards, liquor, laughter. It's 11:58 p.m. when the door opens. Every head turns. The survivor steps in alone. No crew. No backup. Just him. Dutch Schultz is at a table. jacket off, white shirt, counting receipts from the day. He looks up. "Where are the others?" Dutch asks. The man swallows. "All down." The room goes quiet in 1 second. Dutch stands slowly. "All..." The man nods once. Dutch waits 3 seconds. Then he says, "Why are you alive?" The survivor takes a breath. Voice barely works. "He told me to walk out." Dutch's eyes narrow. "To tell you something." No one moves. No one reaches for a gun. Dutch gestures with 2 fingers. "Say it." The survivor straightens, repeats the sentence word for word. No paper, no object, just sound. When he finishes, the room stays silent. Dutch Schultz doesn't yell, doesn't throw anything. He sits back down. He lights a cigarette. One drag, then another. The survivor is still standing there. Dutch doesn't look at him. "You can go," Dutch says. The man doesn't argue. He turns and leaves. At 12:04 a.m., the door closes behind him. Dutch Schultz stares at the table, at the empty space where 18 names should be, and for the first time that night, he doesn't speak. 12:11 a.m., Dutch Schultz finally speaks. Not loud, not angry. He didn't send money, he says. No one answers. He didn't send proof, Dutch continues. No bodies, no guns. He taps ash into a tray. He sent confidence. One lieutenant shifts. "Boss, we can send 30 men. Burn the blocks. Make it right." Dutch looks up. "How many did I send tonight?" 18. "And how many came back?" Silence. Dutch nods. "That's the math. Someone else tries. We can hit him in daylight. Police won't matter." Dutch shakes his head once. "You don't go to war with a man who lets you choose the survivor." The room freezes. "He could have killed all of them," Dutch says. "He didn't." Dutch stands, walks to the window, looks south. "That means he wasn't fighting for the night," he says. "He was fighting for the neighborhood." Dutch turns back, and neighborhoods fight back. At 12:18 a.m., he makes the call. No retaliation, no second wave, no follow-up. "Harlem is done," Dutch says. "We'll make money somewhere else." The decision stuns the room. Dutch Schultz, a man known for never backing down, backs away. By morning, word spreads. Not through newspapers, through mouths. 18 men went in. 1 walked out. After that night, no Schultz crew crosses north of 125th Street. Not once. Bumpy Johnson doesn't announce victory, doesn't celebrate. He just keeps collecting, keeps protecting. For the next 3 decades, Harlem stays his. Not because he was the most violent man, but because he proved something worse. He could end a war by choosing who lived. If this story hit you, smash subscribe for stories history forgot. Like if you think Bumpy Johnson was the smartest man in Harlem. And tell me, what would you have done if you were Dutch Schultz? The next story is coming tomorrow.